Pakistani developers, are you tired of constantly switching jobs or working on boring websites and WordPress plugins? Do you want to leave a legacy, something that you are proud to contribute to? I have good news for you. Codecast Pakistan is sponsored by Shadow Labs, and Shadow Labs is currently hiring. Shadow Labs is an award-winning tech startup formed in 2010. Shadow Labs is on track to disrupt the global legal industry. The best part is that Shadow Labs has its roots in Pakistan. Shadow Labs is the next Pakistani success story. It's like joining Kareem before it was Kareem. Shadow Labs has strong development and operations teams based out of Pakistan, and we are currently looking for developers across Pakistan. So if you are an HTML developer, Laravel developer, or full stack developer, listen here. We are hiring across senior and mid-level roles. We also provide different hiring options, including full-time and flexible part-time roles. If you want to build something that you're proud of, this is the place for you. If you want to be part of Pakistan's next biggest tech company, this is the place for you. Click the link below and fill out the form. And join the legal technology revolution and contribute to Pakistan's next biggest tech startup. Leave your legacy. Welcome to Codecast Pakistan. Codecast Pakistan is on a mission to build community in the Pakistani tech industry. Our mission is based on the philosophy that community is what leads to collective growth. If we work together, we grow together. Our focus is to bring diverse experiences and perspectives from the Pakistani tech industry. The idea is that our viewers can learn from the experiences that others have had navigating through the Pakistani tech industry. Today's guest is Nabeel Pasha. Nabeel is an experienced developer with over 5 years of experience in the industry. He has worked with major software hubs, including Datum Square IT Services, and Nabeel embodies the goals we have set here at Codecast of community building in the Pakistani tech industry. Nabeel is also the founder of Laravel Pals, a resource for Pakistani developers to improve their development skills. Welcome to the podcast, Nabeel.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully you can hear me well. So first of all, thanks for this well-oriented introduction, and it's been an honor to be your guest. So let's jump into the podcast and let's see how it goes.
Awesome. Sounds good. And so for the viewing audience, this is me and Nabeel's second take at the podcast. We recorded before, and so I guess we had a practice run before, but we had technical issues. So I'm hoping I had a good discussion last time. I think there was a lot of good insights Nabeel had, and I'm hoping we can relive that experience again and give you guys some good information and advice from Nabeel's extensive experience. So starting off, I think it's always good to focus on the beginning, understand how to navigate the beginning of a journey, but also let's talk about just generally, Nabeel. Tell us how your career started, how you got into the tech space, how did your journey begin?
So you took me back to 2018, or to be very accurate, 2017. So it was my last semester in university when I started thinking that okay, it is the right time. I have to jump into the market. Otherwise, to because I have seen most of the developers who struggle in their careers. So I wanted to skip that struggle part after doing my graduation. So in my second last semester, me and my friend, we joined a local software house to request them to please offer us the internship so we could explore a bit of the practical knowledge other than the theoretical or everything that university teaches us. So we actually jumped into the market in 2017, and we actually owe him the that he gave us the opportunity to sit into his software house, because now after 5 years I realized that it is very important that he gave us a chance as a freshie. So it was very important for us, and we explored everything that was not taught to us in the university. So that's how it started.
Okay, so getting that, I guess you went, you took the initiative, realizing that school is not going to teach you how to do the actual job. So you went out and got a
Exactly.
job, an internship to learn from someone that's on the ground. So what did that lead to? So take us on the journey from there. How did you navigate your career beyond that first role? So you took it on. Maybe you graduated after, and did you stay with them? How did that go?
Yeah. So let me continue. So we have explored, basic things in the programming that we were never taught in the university. Uh, let's talk about my domain. So I have learned, I won't lie or I won't exaggerate. I have learned even HTML and CSS in that internship period. So once I have, and in the parallel, it was my eighth semester in which we were doing our final year project that was built into the PHP, core PHP with Oracle. So we have exposure of both things, the final year project as well as the practical knowledge that we were gaining from the internship of that during that software house. So once my graduation is was done, I continued in that local firm, and he offered me a stipend as well just after my graduation. And I started directly jumped into a production application that was written in Coordinator, and Coordinator was a famous framework at that time in 2017 and 2018. So I jumped into that production application, and it was a very risky decision for them as well, because I was not trained. And once I realized that okay, it is not enough now, according to the financial numbers as well. So I started looking for other jobs that actually compensate me in after doing the graduation, because after my graduation I realized that I am a graduate and I owe a piece of paper that has my name as a computer science graduate. So that stipend in the finance was not helping me, so I then shifted to another job. Then I relocated to Lahore, and it was a really good experience of working in Lahore. I have learned so many things, and right now I am working as a remote consultant in the Allshore Virtual Staffing, which is known as the Datum Scare IT services in Pakistan. So
Okay.
that's
So
how
so
it
you mentioned
went.
you relocated to Lahore after that first role. So where were you before? And did you see a difference in the two cities in terms of the work culture, job environment, experience?
Exactly, there was a huge difference in regards of the environment, in regards of the financial numbers, in regards of the competency, because the it's my personal experience that as I belong to Rawalpindi, so the niche and the market in the Rawalpindi does not you know take you to a certain level in which you wish in your career, unless we forward to the software houses or agencies in Islamabad. So Lahore and Islamabad, there is a hell of a difference between those two cities, and Lahore is beyond, you know, ahead in the number of software houses, opportunities, the salary ranges, and everything. So it was a very good decision for me, uh, and I actually preferred the learning curve more, as well as the financial numbers. So it helped me, groom myself in the technology, in the technical grooming as well.
Okay. And I think it's a common experience also across industry as well. If you even if you think about, so I'm joining from, our viewers who don't know, I'm joining from Toronto, Ontario, or Mississauga, which is a city next to Toronto. And if when someone's looking for experience in any industry, really, has more breadth of experience and more depth of experience, then people usually go to the big city hubs because that's where a lot of more business is happening, and then you're able to learn from a lot of different people. So I think it's a very similar experience, or a universal experience, what you're saying, that where you felt that moving from Rawalpindi to Lahore, there was a lot more experience to learn and also earn, so you had both that the balance there as well, learning and earning. So beyond that, I think
Exactly.
you mentioned last time you were talking about how when you when you I forget the specific points, but you were talking about how in your first internship you came to a realization that helped really navigate your learning journey, right? So what you wanted to focus on after. Can you talk about that a little bit more? How that shaped your path in becoming a better developer?
Yeah, sure. It was a very important point that I missed. So, uh, when I, switched from that internship to a, separate job, if you have opened my LinkedIn, there is a, career option mentioned. I have joined NUST, and there was an initiative named as NSTP, National Software House Park, or I'm actually forgetting the actual term. It is the incubation or initiative from the government, or the military side as well. So in during that, I realized that, okay, working with the coordinator is not going to help me in excelling my career, because now in the market everyone is talking about Laravel. So I was the only one in my team with a junior that was a colleague of my university as well. So whenever I, had a chance to have some spare time, instead of wasting my time, I started learning Laravel and practicing Laravel myself during my free time, or even uh, because it was not that much organized project in that software houses. So they just grab the requirements from the clients and simply ask us that, okay, it is the requirement and you have to you know build this thing, and that's it. Because there was no organized way, no project management thing, and nothing else. So I took the courage to you know uh, implement the application in Laravel without informing them. So I had some challenges as well, but YouTube and Google or Stack Overflow, those are the best teachers apart from our professors. So they helped me very much, and I learned everything by myself, because I had no senior in that software house. So I started thinking that, okay, I lacked that part of a thing in my career when I have to look upon to my senior. So that is the one of the reason I relocated to Lahore for 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 a teamwork and the seniors. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Definitely. I think it brings up a lot of good questions as well, or lessons that you can hopefully highlight. So one of the things that you mentioned was that when you joined that job, you felt that there was no direction or no system or process for project management. And I think that that's a very common experience for a lot of software developers, where you're hired and you're told go make this, and companies don't have the systems in place to help you navigate the process of making it. So, what advice would you give to a developer in that who's in that situation where there's no one else in the company to help manage the project, and they're just told go make this?
Okay, to be very realistic, I would encourage them to, instead of, blaming anyone, they should create for themselves, for ease of themselves. A Trello is a free project management tool, as well as the Jira. So instead of, playing the blame game, I would advise them to look forward for these project management tools, and you know start creating stories or tickets on that tool, and have your seniors onboarded with you that I have everything covered or documented in this. We will be, instead of revising everything and accommodating the revisions or the feedbacks, we will be taking forward these tickets. Okay, I have done this task, the status of this task is this, this task is blocked due to this reason. Everything is documented, so no one is blamed anymore. So after my experience, I would advise them to help themselves, because God help themselves who help you know who help themselves.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah, no, no, I understand the point that you have to make the effort. You have to tie your camel, and then rely on God to provide the support, of course, or um, help. So yeah, make your effort first. And I think one of the points that I wanted to highlight from your uh, last um, the response to the last question also was you were talking about the different methods within which you learned or grew as a software developer, and you mentioned school or your professors as one of them, and then you mentioned self-study as one of them. So you went out and studied yourself as well, and you learned, and then of course experience, just going out and doing the job, getting that internship, and then just trying to figure it out as a third one. And then the fourth one, which you felt was lacking, was at your initial roles, the senior, someone who is at your company who has had that experience, who is able to help you navigate through the same uh, um, knowledge journey in increasing your skills. Now, uh, outside of using those resources, so these are sources of information, would you have any general advice for someone, let's say, that's um, whether, yeah, they're starting off, let's go with starting off, and then we'll move to mid-career. So someone who's starting off, young developer, and they want to get a little bit better or get improve their skills to be able to get a job, where should they focus their energy right now?
So, as I have two younger brothers as well, so this question applies to me in a very correct manner. So, the advice that I have given to them and I would give to anyone else that is starting his career would be, you know, just unlearn everything, because unlearn helps you, and start relearning the new methodologies of learning things. So I would advise them to look forward to YouTube. There are very good tutorial channels available on YouTube. So I would advise them to, add them in their watch list, in the playlist of the YouTube, and just go through it. And no need to do practical thing. That is my way of advising them. But I would really encourage them to do practical, once they are revising that tutorial. So it is a two step advice. One is open the tutorial and watch the tutorial completely. So it will help you understanding the main concept and everything, how the project started, how it actually groomed, and how it actually deployed to the production environment. For the beginners, no need to discuss any architecture or anything, and just start your IDE or any editor in which you are comfortable with coding, and you should practice everything that uh, your professor or your instructor in the YouTube series have taught you. So that is my advice for them.
Okay, and then moving up that experience, and a career trajectory. So someone that's perhaps at your level of experience, that's looking to continue improving their skills, and get better at what they're doing. Where would you say that that individual should focus their time?
Yeah, as we are now living in the era of AI, so you know, I won't say that our jobs will be replaced by the AI, but for sure our job will be somehow affected by the AI, because if we There, you know, AI will help us in doing our job in less time consuming manner and more efficiently and more effectively as well. So instead of wasting time in debugging everything, we can just copy paste our problem scenario and then discuss some of the approaches that AI would recommend us. Because as per my experience, uh, unlearning the previous methodologies is very important in relearning the new things. So without any biasness, uh, we should spend our time in exploring more things. And when you know when you are getting more experience, there is no need for implementing everything. That is my understanding still now. We have to just grab the main concept, just the idea or theme of any application or any project, and we should start working on improving the things. And some of the things that I really take care is the dry, that is, don't repeat yourself. It is the famous terminology that we use in whenever we develop the code. So everyone is referencing the same thing. So if we need any modification, so we don't have to perform the modifications everywhere. So that is the main key point of try.
Good advice. I think one that often is forgotten, and it helps really keep everything clean and concise as well. So very good advice, I think. And which is it's also
Mhm.
something that's important in general communication, right? When we're speaking to someone, you're looking to be as concise
Exactly.
and effective as possible. So I think that's very helpful. So now moving beyond just let's say the tech side of career advancement, now improving your skills. Now, what other, whether it's skills or tools or habits, should a developer be developing? Should a developer be developing when navigating their career and hoping to progress their career? Is there anything else you feel that a software developer should be focusing on?
Yeah, definitely. I would, apart from the technical perspective, I would advise them to first advice I would like them to follow or subscribe to Andrew Tate's channel because he is the uh, the man who takes risk. I'm sure you would agree that he teaches his students to take the risks, because actually job or 9 to 5 is not our, you know we should not consider this as a jail. We should consider this as a learning opportunity and a compensation to pay our bills and bread and butter. But apart from this job, we should focus on any idea or anything that we really want to do. So I the job should not stop you or restrict you from doing whatever you want to achieve. And you should be very disciplined. You should be very efficient in uh, doing the things or ideas that you want to do apart from job. And uh, everything lies under the bed of discipline. So I think being a software developer, we lack
Mhm.
the discipline, especially after working from home. We have a bad posture, and physical activities are lacking from our daily routine. So we should adapt these things. And health is above of anything. We should take care of our health and the controlled diet in order to be more efficient in if you are working like me, if you are working
Mhm.
from home.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that was very good advice, especially in terms of needing to focus on discipline as well. And one thing I would actually add as well, because you were talking about how the importance of also just not seeing your job as as jail, but also at the same time exploring your own interests as well. What I would add is for one thing, that a general piece of advice would be to understand that you have defined your values, because once you define your values, then those values then will guide your decisions. So for example, like Nabeel said, if your value is that you want to be someone who is disciplined, so someone who's not impulsive. You're not just, oh, I'm going to work out today, right? No, you're disciplined. You say, I'm working out every day at this time, this long, and you're consistent, so you make sure you're following those rules. I would carry that over, that while you're where you could have a job and you're working on what you need to work on, make sure that you're disciplined in the values, that you owe the employer what is due to them, and ensure that you pick an employer who owes you what's due to you, right? So there's mutual respect, but there's mutual rights and responsibilities. And then at the same time, your values also you may want to pursue something, build something, do that, but make sure that you're not becoming a dishonest person in that journey. Is my main focus. That's one of the things that I like to emphasize always, because I find that in this pursuit of chasing money, often the values are lost, and it's thought, I just got to do anything I can to make as much as I can. But whenever you think of that, look at Nabil's shirt, and you'll find the answer, because money is not the goal. So sticking it up.
Exactly. And yeah, exactly. In addition to your advice, I second to your advice that we should be not dishonest to our employer, because he pays us and he expects that he has hired something very who is very expert in his field, so he will be, or the employee will be helping him in achieving his certain goals. So we should not be dishonest with him, and we should put our effort in achieve, because we have to satisfy our morality as well, that we are doing his job and we have to do this task. And in the race of achieving everything for myself, we should not forget that we are employee, and we have to do our job with the honesty.
Definitely, yeah. So understanding the rights and responsibilities everybody has, right? And the position that honesty and truth and sincerity has over money, right? Money is just secondary, but it's something, of course, you still need to pursue. So that leads to I wanted to leave about 5-10 minutes to talk about uh, um, the one of the purposes or the main tenet behind Codecast as well, which is community building. So the idea that focusing on these values leads to understanding that community is the heart of everything, right? It's what brings us together, and at the end, it also helps you make more money, right? So so it's going, if you're going to do it, it's a secondary benefit having a good community. So I guess for you, what would you say? How do you think Pakistan or the Pakistani tech community, I guess we can focus on, can benefit from community building?
Yeah, in our last podcast, we have concluded that the community building is very important, because if we have someone who has achieved a certain level in his career, so he should be providing ease to the others who are you know in who are following his path. So community building is very important. That is the main idea of that podcast, to share the experiences of the guests to the audiences. And that is one of the reason for taking the initiative of my idea, that is Laravel Pals, uh, to instruct to instruct the things or the methodologies or the tips or tricks that I have faced and I have learned during my development career. So it helps in achieving everything. And being a Pakistani, I would repeat that we lack this kind of mindset of helping each other in certain things, because in this era of individualism or materialism, everyone is chasing his dreams. So we should not forget that helping others, we are actually building, creating a network who by helping each other, because whenever they face a problem, they look forward to us that, okay, if everything is going in the wrong direction, maybe this is the right person to approach or to discuss my problem. So, and that problem can be, related to the technical or, technological perspective, as well as the career advices. So, I guess I would, you know, really appreciate again the idea of Codecast. I have listened to some of the past episodes of that Codecast as well. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would add as well, I think knowledge sharing definitely is a massive support. And then you also have emotional support that comes with the community as well, right? When you're going through maybe a difficult time or whatever else it is, there is that emotional support. And while I would say, like Nabil was saying, the impact of individualism has been quite strong over the last, I would say, 50-ish years or less, probably 30 to 40 years. The roots of community exist in Pakistan more so than a lot of other places, right? The roots, the people still see that the importance of community. Like for example, in Toronto, in Canada, where I'm from, the idea of extended family being very close is not common, and that's the root of community, right? So, so that's a privilege, I would say, or a benefit that still exists that provides the foundation of greater community. So when we talk about there are strengths and then there's weaknesses too. So what would you say is a weakness or something that needs to be overcome, or an area that we could focus on in terms of developing community? Do you think there's anything like that could be focused on generally, like the average developer, is something that you could do on your day to day basis?
Yeah, so I would like to add two things here. One is, don't be ashamed to ask the questions. Always ask the questions, because once you have the courage to ask the question, you have this mindset in your brain that you are open to learning. And second thing is insecurities. Don't get affected by insecurities by, sharing your knowledge with anyone else, that he might, replace you in a certain job or certain seat. Because everyone, being a Muslim, we have our firm belief that we are given everything by Almighty Allah. So don't be insecure in sharing your knowledge with anyone else. And from the learner's perspective, I would say that don't be hesitant in asking the questions. Or yeah, these are the two major advices that I would apply on myself first, and I would like to share with anyone else who is looking us in this podcast.
Very well said. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and I like the part where you were saying also, um, don't be insecure about sharing what you know. At the end of the day, you learned what you know from someone else, right? So there is a chain, and if you want to break that chain, then someone else could have done it to you, but they didn't, right? So whether it was a YouTube channel or whatever else it was still
Right.
someone else. Someone put that information somewhere, and then you had to take it and then maybe process it a little bit, and you came to an understanding. But there is a chain. Great advice. I think there's a lot of good
Yeah,
information and good advice. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Just one thing more. I really like the quotation, and I quote it in my post as well. That be the senior whom you wanted your senior to be. So that is the simplest formula.
Well said. Well said. Who you needed, be that person for people that are working and that have less experience than you at your company, or even just that you meet. Well said. I think great
Exactly.
advice to end off with. Thank you, Nabil, for joining us. I think this was a great episode for whether you're starting your career or you're in the middle, or at a senior level. I think there was a lot of good information throughout the podcast. Appreciate you joining us, Nabil.
Thank Thanks for having me, and I really like to thank you for conducting this podcast and series of this podcast as well.
Pakistani developers, are you tired of constantly switching jobs or working on boring websites and WordPress plugins? Do you want to leave a legacy, something that you are proud of? I have good news for you. Codecast Pakistan is sponsored by Shadow Labs, and Shadow Labs is currently hiring. Here are 3 reasons why the best developers across Pakistan are working at Shadow Labs. Number 1, Shadow Labs was formed in 2010 and has received numerous tech disruption awards. Our unique partnerships with major Canadian corporations has positioned us for global success. Number 2, Shadow Labs is a product company that is disrupting the legal industry in Canada. Shadow Labs is on track to change legal services globally. And number 3, Shadow Labs is the next Pakistani success story. It is like joining Kareem before it was Kareem. Shadow Labs has strong development and operation teams based out of Pakistan. And there's good news. We are currently looking for developers across Pakistan. Shadow Labs is currently hiring for a few roles, including HTML developers, Laravel developers, and full stack developers. We are hiring across senior and mid-level roles. We also provide different hiring options, including full-time roles and flexible part-time roles. This is not a website or WordPress development job. We are building 3 unique products that will change the world. If you have big dreams and ambitions, this is the place for you. If you want to build something that you are proud of, this is the place for you. If you want to be part of Pakistan's next biggest tech company, this is the place for you. If you are a senior or mid-level HTML developer, Laravel developer, or full-stack developer, listen here. Whether you want a full-time job or a flexible part-time job, click the link below and fill out the form. Join the legal technology revolution and contribute to Pakistan's next biggest tech startup. Leave your legacy.